From 1940 to 1944, much of France endured the harsh realities of German occupation during World War II. For millions, survival was not just about avoiding violence, it was about coping with hunger, repression, fear, and moral dilemmas in a nation under foreign control and a collaborationist government. Despite the oppressive conditions, ordinary French people demonstrated remarkable resilience, adapting to daily hardships and finding ways to persevere until liberation. Coping with rationing and scarcity. One of the most immediate and tangible challenges of occupation was scarcity. The German military commandeered much of France's food, raw materials, and industrial output, while Allied blockades and disrupted supply lines further exacerbated shortages. Ration cards were introduced to control the distribution of food, fuel, and clothing. But rations were often insufficient, forcing families to improvise. Many turned to gardening, growing vegetables in private plots or communal gardens known as jardins ouvriers, workers' gardens, to supplement meager rations. The black market thrived, with goods like sugar, butter, and meat sold at inflated prices. Despite the risks, many relied on illicit trade to survive. Women, in particular, became experts in stretching meals, inventing recipes with limited ingredients or using alternative products like chicory coffee instead of real coffee. Enduring psychological and social pressures. The occupation also brought psychological strain. The constant presence of German soldiers, propaganda, curfews, and censorship created an atmosphere of fear and suspicion. Neighborhoods and communities were divided between collaborators, resistors, and those trying to remain neutral, often creating tensions and mistrust. People practiced self-censorship in conversations, avoiding topics that could lead to denunciation or arrest. Many turned to religion, family, and cultural traditions as sources of comfort and normalcy. Radio and underground newspapers helped maintain morale by sharing news from the Free French and Allies, countering German propaganda. Acts of quiet defiance. Survival also meant small acts of everyday resistance, choosing not to comply fully with occupiers or collaborators. Refusing to salute German soldiers, listening to banned BBC broadcasts, or hiding forbidden books and newspapers were common forms of defiance. Some citizens sheltered Jews, Allied airmen, or members of the resistance at great personal risk. Workers sometimes sabotaged production subtly or slowed down labor to disrupt the German war effort. Women played crucial roles as couriers, smugglers, and supporters of resistance networks. Community solidarity and mutual aid. In towns and villages, solidarity was key to survival. Neighbors shared scarce resources, looked after each other's children, and cared for the sick and elderly. Local charitable organizations, often church-based, helped distribute food and aid to the needy. Families pooled resources, exchanged goods, and supported each other through the toughest times. Mutual aid extended to helping those in hiding or providing false identification papers. Adapting to the new social order. The occupation and Vichy government upended French society and values. Many faced difficult choices about collaboration or resistance. Some took government jobs or cooperated to protect their families or maintain social order. Others joined the French resistance or underground networks, risking everything for liberation. Children continued education amid restrictions, sometimes learning secret lessons or receiving underground newspapers. Cultural life continued in muted forms. Artists, writers, and musicians used coded messages or subtle symbolism to express dissent. Hope in the long wait. Above all, survival was sustained by hope, faith in liberation and a better future. Stories of Allied victories, de Gaulle's broadcasts from London, and the perseverance of the resistance kept spirits alive. The French took heart in small celebrations, secret gatherings, and the eventual Allied landings in Normandy in 1944. The collective endurance through years of hardship became a source of national pride after liberation. The survival of the French people under German occupation was a testament to human endurance, ingenuity, and courage. Through rationing, fear, and repression, ordinary citizens found ways to keep their families fed, their communities intact, and their spirits unbroken. Their stories remind us that survival during times of oppression is not just about physical endurance, but about preserving dignity, hope, and resistance even in the darkest times.